the complexity of that job. My wife, sitting in the second row here, Roxanne, was a sixth grade teacher in Toms River, and we have two daughters. Jessica teaches biology at Jackson Liberty High School, and Katie goes to the University of Pennsylvania for her PhD for bioengineering. One of the reasons I ran for the board originally was because I thought it was important to give back and in appreciation for the education that our daughters got. I realized that we played some part in their success, but to a large extent it was based on the education they got in the Toms River schools. I moved to Toms River in 1987, so I've been here 25 years. During that time, my focus has been mainly on community service. For 15 years, I've been president of the Silverton Homeowners Association. For over 10 years, I've been on the Township Planning Board, the Recreation Committee, the ADA Compliance Committee, and the Youth Advisory Council. Some people describe me as a professional volunteer. I don't know if that's good or bad. I also volunteer at Ocean Medical Center. I'm a patient advocate. And one of the things I get out of that job is I visit the patients and I see if they have any issues and I help them address them. But personally, after I leave the hospital every Tuesday, I realize how lucky I am. And I realize the important things in life that we need to hold in value, and these little things sometimes that people get focused on are not that important. One of the things I'd like to accomplish tonight, I hope you ask us about three main questions. Number one, whether or not Gus and I were part of the Ritacco era. That's a question I hope we can answer for you tonight. The other question is, we hope to be able to explain our accomplishments in the 3 years we've been on. And the other question that people have asked me, and I think it's fair to address it in a forum like this, what are the benefits or the negatives about having a husband and wife on the Board of Education together? Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Lee.
You're welcome.
Our next speaker is Charlotte Forrest Lane.
Well, I'm not as tall as he is, so I guess I have to stand also. Well, I've been probably the most experienced member here as far as the Toms River Schools is concerned. I worked under 5 different superintendents and 8 principals. So I can tell you what goes well and what doesn't go well, whether you're a superintendent or a principal. I worked 33 years in the Toms River Schools, 12 of them as an assistant principal. I've been retired for 18 years, and I've done many things in between. I have to say, one of the most interesting things I've done is I raised some thoroughbred horses and raced them at Monmouth and Atlantic City, and my favorite horse was called Toms River Sailor, that was born in my backyard. I mention that because my son is now involved in the equine industry in Lexington, Kentucky. So he got started early and is continuing that. I have 2 daughters. One is a systems analyst in New York City, though I don't know how that happened. It's not my fault, because she went to the Boston Conservatory and graduated as a musical theater person. And enjoyed doing that for a number of years. And my other daughter was quite an equestrian and lives in Ocean Gate with her family. I think that probably the thing I'm the proudest of is establishing the Toms River Schools Hall of Fame, which I hope I will get to talk about later. We've so far inducted over 150 graduates of Toms River Schools going back to the 1800s. Thank you.
And now we'll hear from Mr. Popovich.
Thank you. My history with Toms River School started back in the 1950s when I started as a student in the elementary school. I went on to graduate from Toms River High School South in 1970, where I was the class president of the last full graduating class at Toms River. I went on to college, and I went back to work for the Toms River School District in the late 1970s as a transportation supervisor. And I continued to work there until I retired in 2005 as the Director of Transportation and Emergency Management. While I worked for the school district, I also volunteered for the community. I was a member of the Toms River First Aid Squad, where I served as president. was also a member of the auxiliary police where I served as sergeant. And I have been a member of the rent leveling board, the board of adjustment, and the planning board as well. Back in 2009, my love of the district brought me back to the district, and I ran for the board, and I was elected. Jack and I took our oath of office in May of 2009. 11 short months later, one of the worst scandals that anyone could imagine rocked our district and sent us into uncharted waters. Jack and I emphatically state that we ended the Ritacco era. We replaced the superintendent, we replaced the business administrator, we replaced the insurance broker, we replaced the auditor, we replaced the school board engineer position, it doesn't exist. We renamed and re-sponsored the arena, and we are now in the process of continuing work of putting cash registers that are currently in the arena. We're putting them in the Bennett Center. We are moving forward with plans to increase more public participation at meetings. We are also continuing our work with the cafe, which we required for an audit. Thank you.
Ms. Jeannie Rhine?
I wanted to sit, but oh well. I want to be the only one. Hello, my name is Ginny Rhine, and I decided to run for the school board because I realized we had problems in our district. But it wasn't until I started running that I realized quite how extensive our problems are. I'm really shocked and appalled at the way our district has been run, both before Ritacco was indicted and since. I would like to thank the League of Women Voters for giving us the opportunity to talk to you tonight. First, I want to tell you a little bit about myself, quickly because I only have 2 minutes. I'm not a politician, I'm a mom. We have a real mess in our school district, and who's better at cleaning up messes than a mom? I was a teacher of math and AP computer science at Township North until 2005, and I voluntarily left because my son was born. Since then, I've concentrated on raising our 3 kids that we have now, and doing volunteer work for a charity called Your Grandmother's Cupboard. As a graduate of Township High School South, I know we have the makings of a really good school district here. We have wonderful students, excellent teachers, and it's really a shame that instead of being known for these good things, we're known for the scandals of the Ritacco era. I'm running for the Board of Education because I want to improve transparency and rescue the tarnished reputation that we've gotten. To do this, we need some fresh blood on the board, a clean slate, if you will. As a mother of 3 children who are beginning their journey through our school system, I have a vested interest in improving the education of the children in our district. But at the same time, as a taxpayer, I understand the need to deliver quality education without breaking the bank. Our school district has a $200 million budget, and the board approves it without even looking at it, which is shocking. When Ritacco was in charge, the taxpayer didn't come first. He made decisions based on his own personal gains and gave out positions as favors. To accomplish that, he wanted a Board of Education who would, in his words, do anything I asked. That's not the way it's supposed to work. The superintendent works for the board, not the other way around. The current board talks the talk about moving forward, that they continue to vote just as they did under Ritacco, approving contracts for many of the same professionals that Ritacco selected. Thank you.
Our next speaker is Mr. Joseph Torrone.
I am standing. Well, from talking a joke used against me, but I will do that. First, I want to thank the League of Women Voters for arranging this program tonight. Let me point out just a few quick items. All boards of education should have input into the school budget, and they should provide oversight for the budget formulation. That's not happening here in Toms River. There are no public meetings seeking community input here in Toms River. In fact, even the board members have no input into the budget. The budget is created entirely by the administration. This is just plain wrong. At public board meetings, I asked the board if they had ever seen a complete budget. It's hundreds of pages long. They had never seen one. Instead, they always accepted what's called a user-friendly budget that's 10 to 12 pages long. $200 million in 12 pages, approximately $20 million a page. Usually a finance committee in all the other districts I've ever worked in, and I'll give you some background on that later, usually the finance committee has department heads and administrators come in to explain their accounts and justify their allocations. That does not happen here. When asked to create a personnel committee to ensure fair and honest hiring practices, the incumbents voted no. I don't want to tell the superintendent whom to hire. I just want to know why the candidate was considered the best by the administration. I want to know what process was used in the selection of these people. At the very least, I would like to see, and at least provide my boards of education with a resume. Speaking of hiring, even in the selection process of our new superintendent, there was no public input. Jackson, right now, read the paper, they're seeking community input. The 3 incumbents did not stand up and say, we need the community input. After a scandal of this magnitude, ladies and gentlemen, you would think they would have cleaned house of everyone. They just took a lot of credit for things which are really amazing to me. I was a teacher for 17 years. I was a school administrator for 23, a superintendent, and I can tell you things need to be changed here.
Thank you.
Thank you.